Southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News First at 4.
Good afternoon, I'm Steve Hensley. First at 4, today marks 11 months since the deadly and historic flooding last July. While many people who lost their homes in the July flood have landed on their feet now, there are still people living in campers in Knott County's Mind-Made Adventure Park in need of permanent housing. Knott County Judge Executive Jeff Dobson says he understands how difficult living in a camper can be for folks.
You know, we know people is stressed out. You know, folks with families that are living in a camper, those campers are small, and when you're living in one, I can speak from experience, they get smaller every day.
Dobson says many people are working together to get people into permanent housing. We'll have more on that tonight at 6. Earlier today, Governor Beshear announced more than $2 million to support emergency preparedness efforts. The governor says the money will go towards expanding and restructuring the Kentucky Medical Reserve Corps in all 120 counties. Kentucky Cabinet for Health and Family Services Secretary Eric Friedlander says the money will help facilitate how the MRC responds to emergency situations.
So it's really an expansion of something we already had. We basically are collapsing what are our smaller regions into 8 large regions, and they fall under the Department for Public Health, and we help coordinate that.
Friedlander says the money will be divided into different regions, saying those regions are based on population. Coming up at 6, find out about why this money is important and how it will be implemented. Reaction continues to come in a day after we learned bluegrass icon and Leslie County native Bobby Osborne died at 91. Another Eastern Kentucky legend, Ricky Skaggs, posted a statement on social media today. It reads in part, "It's been a tough week for our bluegrass family with the passing of Jesse McReynolds and now our beloved Bobby Osborne. Skaggs calls the Osborne brothers the best harmony singers in bluegrass history." Bobby Osborne's family says there was no area that the Osborne brothers did not conquer. Sam Luther has more.
Rocky Top will never be the same, but we've always got it.
The man who made the song Rocky Top a household hit has died. Bobby Osborne and his brother Sonny recorded the song more than 55 years ago. We spoke with the man behind the song back in December in a one-on-one interview in Nashville.
Dun, 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 dun. And I thought to myself, boy, if we speeded that up, that'd make a good song.
Osborne got the rhythm just right and turned Rocky Top into an official state song in a tune that can be heard throughout volunteer country just about every day.
Him and Dolly Parton are like the voice of the mountains.
At 91 years old, one of those voices has now been lost. But for fellow musician C.J. Lewandowski, there's still reminders of that friendship they had. More than a year ago, Osborne gave him his tour bus, spending time together, talking music and cultivating a friendship this East Tennessee artist won't soon forget.
He called me his boy. He said, "All right, my boy, I'll see you soon, my boy." And so I'm gonna miss that. And he was his daughter had texted me Sunday, and she said, "I just want to let you know that my dad says that you're his best friend." And that's the highest compliment that I will ever get.
That East Tennessee artist says that he and Osborne had actually written and performed a song together that was set to be released this Friday. That's now on hold, but we are told it will be released in the future. Air quality alerts were issued today across Kentucky as wildfire smoke drifted south again from Canada. Some areas of eastern Kentucky had an air quality index above 150. That's described as unhealthy. The air quality index is measured from 0 to 500. Higher numbers reflect worse air quality. People with existing medical conditions are being encouraged to keep outdoor activities to a minimum for now. The air quality concerns are also stretching to cities like Pittsburgh and Minneapolis. Heavy smoke filled the skies there today, as you can see in this video. Officials with the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection are asking people in Pittsburgh to stay indoors if possible.
Well, Steve, that air quality alert runs through midnight tonight as our air quality has in many places dipped into the unhealthy category. There's that air quality alert, and it's in place for all of our Kentucky counties as well as Campbell County in Tennessee. The Tennessee Bureau of the Air Quality, they're adding the Knoxville Metro and up into Campbell County into that as well at this hour. The air quality index throughout much of the region, you see it's terrible the further north and west you go, but we're seeing those unhealthy numbers really starting to filter into the mountains. The AQI in Hazard right now is 152. It's 120. That's unhealthy, by the way, 152. Pikeville at 123. Somerset at 121 are both in the unhealthy for sensitive groups category as we head out there, and you can definitely see it. There's that smoke working through the region again through the afternoon and evening. Mid-70s in Pikeville right now, where you can really see the smoke draped through the region at this point. Not hurting temperatures, upper 70s and low 80s, even mid-80s. Look at Monticello checking in at 86 right now. Not a bad day to be on the lake other than the smoky skies. Dew points are in the low to mid-60s, so it does feel a little muggy. Your forecast first through the next 12 hours, we're going to slowly drop those temperatures into the mid-60s. However, as we head into tomorrow, we have declared a WYMT First Alert Weather Day with the potential for strong to severe storms moving in. First, tomorrow, midday into the afternoon, and again on Friday, the potential for damaging winds in excess of 60 miles per hour and a much lower threat for the other severe hazards. I'll have the latest details on that coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Evan, thank you. An investigation into what happened is underway as pieces of the Titan submersible are pulled from the ocean floor. The Horizon Arctic, the ship carrying the debris, returned to a Canadian port today. Officials say the submersible imploded on its way to tour the wreckage of the Titanic last week. All the debris will be turned over to investigators in the United States and Canada. Turning to the war in Ukraine, Russia has renewed deadly missile strikes just days after ending a military rebellion. At least 10 people, including children, were killed when a missile hit a busy restaurant in eastern Ukraine yesterday evening. Dozens of people were also hurt. CBS's Ian Lee is in Ukraine with more on the attack.
Twisted metal and concrete is all that remains of this popular pizza restaurant. Last evening, 2 Russian missiles hit while the place was packed with the dinner rush. People frantically helped the injured while looking for loved ones and friends. The city sits about 20 miles from the front and has come into the crosshairs before. Many of the victims of Russia's missile attacks are civilians, some not even old enough to understand what's happening. Everything has been blown up, this witness says. I see destruction everywhere. It's fear, horror. For hours, rescuers pulled survivors from the rubble. The strike signals it's business as usual for Russia after last weekend's mutiny. The Kremlin tried to project power and control at a military ceremony in Moscow yesterday. President Vladimir Putin thanked Russian troops for preventing a civil war. The man behind the rebellion, Yevgeny Prigozhin, last seen leaving the Russian city of Rostov, arrived in Belarus yesterday as part of the deal that ended the crisis. But the country's president, who brokered the deal, hinted that Prigozhin's safety may not be guaranteed, saying he had urged President Putin not to kill him. Ian Lee, CBS News.
President Biden today said that Putin had been weakened by the mutiny and said Putin had become, quote, a bit of a pariah around the world. In France, protests broke out last night following the death of a 17-year-old who was shot during a traffic stop. About 350 French police and paramilitary officers were mobilized. 24 people were detained as clashes continued through dawn today. Police say unrest broke out by small groups of people in reaction to the incident. An investigation has been opened by the local prosecutor's office, and a police officer remains in custody. In the Philippines, some tense moments on board a Vietjet plane carrying 214 people earlier today. The pilot made an unscheduled but safe landing this morning. None of the passengers and crew were hurt. Passengers were brought to an airport lounge to wait for a replacement aircraft. Mexico is gripped in a heat wave for the third straight week, but the extreme temperatures may be easing for them soon. Weather experts in Mexico say something called anticyclonic circulation will weaken by Friday. This is Mexico's third heat wave of the year, but much of that country is still expecting temperatures of more than 104 degrees during the coming weekend. Coming up on First